Hey guys, how you going? Hey guys, are you worried about 5G radiation? EMFs? Well, I want to tell you about a sponsor of this video. They're patriots and they support the truth. They're called EMF Harmonised and they sell EMF protection technology. The technology filters out the harmful RF waves, radio frequency waves, and has been scientifically proven to do so. It's Tesla technology. As we use computers, phones or tablets to watch any videos or do anything these days, the EMFs are damaging our DNA as we use them. In other words, consider getting some EMF protection from the link below, as you'll protect yourself, you'll help the growth of my channel, and you'll help a fellow truth supporting business, and it's very easy to shop by. They have phone strips and computer strips and laptop and personal relief discs. There's quite a few things in here, guys, so if you're interested, please have a look, and the link will be down below. Thank you so much. Okay guys, I'd like to start by thanking Linda. Thank you so much to Linda and my PayPals and Patreons. I appreciate all of you guys. Okay, let's get started with the Ghislane Maxwell documents. I have had a quick read through about 100 pages of it, and it's frustrating. And the first part is just all the all of the prosecutors and lawyers and defendants, and I'll start here. Okay. Ghislane Maxwell, called as a witness, having been duly sworn by a notary public, was examined and testified as follows. Examination by Ms. Macaulay. Now, I'm not going to read questions. I'm going to read the questions, but I'm just going to say, good morning. I'm going to explain some of the rules that will happen with respect to depositions. Have you ever been deposed before? Answer, I have not. What is going to happen here, we have a court reporter and a videographer. What they do is take down the words that we say, so when I ask you a question, they will record what you say in response to that. So be mindful that in order for them to do their job, we can't talk over each other. Another issue you have to be wary of is that in a response, you can't give a non-verbal response. In other words, nodding a yes or no. They need to hear the verbal response so they can record it on their transcript. So that's what's important for you to remember as we go through the day. If you forget, I'll be sure to remind you. Is there anything that would prevent you from giving truthful testimony today? Answer, there is not. You are not on any medications or anything that would inhibit your ability to remember or give truthful testimony? Answer, I'm not. And one of the lawyers asked, could you identify the assistant in the room? Miss Macaulay says, this is Emma Rosen from our New York office. She's a paralegal. And then, Ms. Maxwell, can you please state your address for the record? She states her address. What is your date of birth? Answer, date of birth. Question, when did you first recruit a female to work for Mr. Epstein? And then objection straight away. He believes this is confidential information and asks anyone who is not admitted in this case to be excused from the room, please. Miss Macaulay says, so the response to that question would be, and I'm going to call him Mr. Peg, the subject matter of this question is confidential and I'm designating it as confidential. So Miss Macaulay, I just want to make that clear for the record. Mr. Edwards, so we don't delay the deposition, I'll step out of the room, but I think it's important to lay the record that, and Mr. Pag says, I'm sorry, you are not admitted in this proceeding, so if you are not entitled to make any record. So you are not entitled to make any record. If Miss Macaulay wants to make a record, she can. Mr. Edwards, I can make a record right now. And Mr. Pag, maybe we should get the judge on the phone and talk about it. So this is the lawyers arguing, obviously. Mr. Edwards, the record will be short. This is the precise reason why Ms. Guthrie wants me in this case, and I'm unable to effectively represent her at this time because I'm unable to have access to the confidential information, which includes apparently the entire deposition of Ms. Maxwell. But for the sake of not furthering delaying this, I'll be outside the room. Miss Macaulay thanks him. Answer: I would like to just wait for him to leave. That's fine. Answer: I would just like to clarify the address. I'm in the process of selling the house, so while I still receive mail there, it's not my actual physical address. It's in the process of being sold. It still requires some financial paperwork to be done, so just for the purposes of clarity. Okay, and then they ask, do you have a new address where you will be living? And she answers, I do not. Okay, for the purpose of the record, if there is something I ask you that you later remember something else or need to correct your testimony in some way, you can do that. Just let me know what it is and we will go back to that question and you can clarify. Answer: of course, I just wanted to be clear. There's still some paperwork pending for final release, but it's in the process of sale. But I don't have another address currently, so whilst that should still be a record that the mail could be forwarded there, so for purposes of clarity, I wanted to be clear. Okay, I appreciate that. So, Ms. Maxwell, when did you first recruit a female to work for Mr. Epstein? Objection again. Question. You can answer the question. First of all, answer. First of all, can you please clarify the question? I don't understand what you mean by female. I don't understand what you mean by recruit. Please be more clear and specific about what you are suggesting. Okay, are you a female? Is that the sex that you are? Her answer, I'm a female. Well, that is what I'm referring to, a female. And I'm asking you when you the very first time you recruited a female to work for Mr. Epstein. And her answer, again, I don't understand what female. I'm a 54-year-old woman. I'm not making it age, any age of a female that you recruited to work for Mr. Epstein. Her answer, again, I was somebody who hired a number of people to work for Mr. Epstein, and hiring is one of my functions. And when is the first time you hired someone to work for Mr. Epstein, a female? Her answer, as best I can recollect, a woman at the age of approximately 40 or 50 was sometime in 1992. How long did you work for Mr. Epstein? Her answer, I started working for him at some point in 1992, and the nature of my work relationship with him changed over time. So from around 2002, 2003, the work lessened considerably. When did you, and there's an interject, if they're talking about background, Miss Macaulay says, I'm in the middle of a question, let me finish and then you can interject. Question, when did you say 2002, when you say 2002, 2003 that the work lessened, when did you complete working for Mr. Epstein? When was the last time you were employed by him, the last date? The answer is, I believe I was still helping him in a very nominal way, maybe an hour or two a year at some time 2008, 2009. I think this is full of lies. And then Mr. Pag interjects again. That's her lawyer, Ghislane Maxwell's lawyer, as far as I believe. So if you are going to be talking about general background, I don't need to designate that as confidential. So if you want to have them come back in, that's fine. I assume by your first question you were going into more sensitive areas, but I'll leave it up to you, blah, blah, blah. Miss Macaulay says, I appreciate that. I'll jump back into my other questions. And Mr. Pag says, so I'll keep it as confidential. When you were first employed by him in 1992, what were you hired to do? Her answer is, first I was consulting, and what I did was I helped with decorating houses and in hiring staff to help run those houses. Did your duties change over the course of 1992 to 2009? Objection. Answer. My job entailed running the homes that he had, but much more importantly, most of the houses had construction. So whilst in 1992 there was no construction project, there was construction projects that began after that time, and I was in charge not only of hiring architects, I was also in charge of hiring of all the filings or overseeing that like a general contractor would. I also help with hiring the architects, the builders, reviewing the contracts for builders, coordinating the building projects, coordinating how the projects would lay out, the timing of the projects, and all the various materials that they would require to run a very, very substantial building project. That's the nature of the job I was dealing with. Question: how old was the youngest female you ever hired to work for Jeffrey? Objection. Question: you can answer. Answer: I've not any idea of exactly the youngest adult employee that I hired for Jeffrey. When you say adult employee, did you ever hire someone that was under the age of 18? Answer: never. Did you ever bring someone who was someone under the age of 18 to Jeffrey's home? Any of his homes? Another objection. Answer: can you repeat the question? Did you ever invite anybody who was under the age of 18 to Jeffrey's homes? Objection. Answer: I have a number of friends that have children and friends of mine that have kids, and in the invitation of my friends and their kids, I'm sure I may have invited some of my friends' kids to come. Okay, anybody that is not a friend of yours? Any female under the age of 18, did you invite them to come to Jeffrey's home? Objection again. Answer: again, as I said, I'm not aware of inviting anybody other than the friends of mine who have children to the house. Did you invite Virginia Guthrie to come to Jeffrey Epstein's house when she was under the age of 18? Objection. Answer: Virginia Roberts held herself out as a masseuse and invited herself to come and give a massage. My question is, did you invite Virginia Roberts when she was under the age of 18 to come to Jeffrey Epstein's home? Objection. Answer: again, Virginia Roberts was a masseuse. I am not asking if she was a masseuse. I'm asking if you invited her to come to Jeffrey Epstein's home. The answer: again, there would be no cause to have a conversation with Virginia unless she held herself out to be a masseuse. This is frustrating. I'm not asking that question. I'm asking if you invited her to come to Jeffrey Epstein's home when she was under the age of 18. Answer: again, I repeat, she was a masseuse, and in the form and as my job, I was to have people who he wanted for various things, including massage. She came as a masseuse. So you invited her to his home to come give a massage, is that correct? Objection again. Misstates the witness testimony, apparently. Answer: again, I did not invite Virginia Roberts. She came as a masseuse. So who invited her to come as a masseuse? She just showed up at the front door? Objection again. Answer: Miss Roberts held herself out. I'm not asking how she held herself out. I'm asking how she arrived at the home. Did you meet her and invite her to come to the home, or how did she arrive there? Objection again. Answer: Ms. Roberts held her to be a masseuse, and her mother drove her to the house. When did you first meet Virginia Roberts? I don't have a this is the answer. I don't have a recollection of the first meeting. Do you recall meeting her at Mar-a-Lago? Answer: like I said, I don't have a recollection of meeting Miss Roberts. So you recall Miss Roberts being brought to the home by her mother, is that your testimony? Answer: that is my testimony. And that is the first time you met her? Answer: like I said, I don't recall meeting her the first time. I do remember her mother bringing her to the house. Are you a member at Mar-a-Lago? Answer: no. Have you visited Mar-a-Lago? Answer: yes. Did you visit Mar-a-Lago in the year 2000? Answer: I'm pretty sure I did. When Miss Roberts arrived at the home with her mother, what happened? Answer: I spoke to her mother outside of the house, and what I don't recall is exactly what happened because I was talking to her mother the entire time she was in the house. Did you introduce Miss Roberts to Jeffrey Epstein? The answer: I don't recall how she actually met Mr. Epstein. As I said, I spoke to her mother the entire time outside of the house. Okay. Did you walk Miss Roberts up to the upstairs location at the Palm Beach house to meet Mr. Epstein? Objection again. You can answer. Answer: I just explained. Answer: I spent the entire time talking to Virginia's mother outside the house, so the answer to the question is no. No? Did you not walk her up and introduce her to Mr. Epstein? Answer: I just said no. Did you participate in a massage this first time when she first came to the home and you were speaking with her mother? She was in the home. Is that correct? You brought her into the home? Objection again. Answer: I will repeat again. I was standing outside with her mother, so very difficult for me to do anything else at the time. So no, I did not take her upstairs. Did you participate? Answer: Virginia lied 100% about absolutely everything that took place in that first meeting. She has lied repeatedly often and is just an awful fantasist. So very difficult for anything to take place that she repeated because I was with her mother the entire time. So did you give a massage with Virginia Roberts and Mr. Epstein during the first time Virginia Roberts was at the West Palm Beach house? Objection again. Yes or no? Answer: no. Have you ever given a massage with Virginia Roberts in the room and Jeffrey Epstein? Objection again, and the answer was no. Have you ever given Jeffrey Epstein a massage? Objection again. Stating personal. We have to stick to the subject matter of sexual trafficking of Miss Roberts. Any consensual adult interaction between my client and Mr. Epstein, I'm going to instruct her not to answer. Because it's not part of this litigation, so private and confidential information, not subject to this deposition. And Miss McCauley says, you can instruct her not to answer, that is your right. But I will bring her back for another deposition because this is part of the subject matter of this litigation, so she should be answering these questions. This is civil litigation, deposition, and she should be responsible for answering these questions. And Maxwell's lawyer says, I disagree with you. I disagree and you understand the bounds that I put on it. And Miss McCauley says, no, I don't. I'll continue to ask my questions and you can continue to make your objections. Now, did you ever participate from the time period of 1992 to 2009? Did you ever participate in a massage with Jeffrey Epstein and another female? And again, the lawyer in objection, do not answer that question. Again, to the extent you're asking for some sort of illegal activity, as you've construed in connection with this case, I don't have any problem with you asking that question. To the extent these questions involve consensual acts between adults, frankly, they're none of your business, and I will instruct the witness not to answer. Ms. McCauley says, this case involves sexual trafficking, sexual abuse. Questions about her having interactions with other females is relevant to this case. She needs to answer these questions. And her lawyer says, I'm instructing her not to answer. Miss McCauley says, then we'll be back here again. Okay, have you ever given a massage to Mr. Epstein with a female that was under the age of 18? The answer, can you repeat the question? How stupid. Question, yes. Have you ever given a massage to Mr. Epstein with a female that was under the age of 18? Answer, no. Have you ever observed Mr. Epstein having a massage given by an individual, a female who was under the age of 18? Answer, no. Have you ever observed females under the age of 18 in the presence of Jeffrey Epstein at his home? Objection again. Answer, again, I have friends that have children. I'm not talking about friends, I'm talking about individuals. And again, Maxwell's lawyer steps in. I'm going to object to you interrupting the witness who is answering your question. The question was, have you ever seen anyone, female, under the age of 18 at the house? And that's the question she was answering. If you want to strike that question and ask another question, feel free, but let the witness respond, please. Miss McCauley says, I will do that. Have you ever observed a female under the age of 18 at Jeffrey Epstein's home that was not a friend, a child, of one of your friend's children? Answer, again, I can't testify to that because I have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea what I'm talking about in the sense that you've never observed a female under the age of 18 at Jeffrey Epstein's home that was not one of your friend's children, is that correct? Objection again. The answer is, how would I possibly know someone is, how old I think they mean someone is, when they are at his house? You are asking me to do that. I cannot possibly testify to that. As far as I'm concerned, everyone who came to his house was an adult, professional person. Okay, are you familiar with the police report that was issued in respect to the investigation in this matter? Objection. And again, are you familiar with the police report that was used in this matter? The investigation of Jeffrey Epstein has been produced as a document in this matter? Answer, I've seen a police report. Maxwell Exhibit 1 police report marked for identification. The police report that you have in front of you, can you turn to page 28 of that report? The numbers are up in the top right-hand corner. You will see some redactions in this report, Ms. Maxwell. The redacted information is redacted because it reveals the name of a minor, someone who is under the age of 18. On page 28, in the third paragraph, about halfway down, it says, blank stated she performed the massage naked. At the conclusion of this massage, Epstein paid $200 for the massage. He explained, I know you're not comfortable, but I'll pay you if you bring me some girls. He told her the younger the better. Blank stated once he tried to bring a 23-year-old to Epstein, and he stated the female was too old. Have you heard Mr. Epstein use the phrase, the younger the better? Answer, I have no recollection of hearing that. Question, have you ever used the phrase in talking to blank and asking her to recruit females for Mr. Epstein? The younger the better? Objection. Answer, first of all, can you break the question apart? Have you used the phrase, the younger the better, in speaking to blank and asking her to recruit females for Jeffrey Epstein? Objection again. You can answer. It's a yes or no. The answer? No, that's absolutely not true. On the second part of your question, I have not asked Virginia to recruit females. And the first part of your question, if you can repeat that again, the question you asked. Question is read back by the... Answer is... by the record. Answer is, I believe I answered the later part of the question. The first part of the question, it's impossible for me to recall events that took place 16 years ago, but it doesn't sound like something I would say. Okay, on page 28, that same paragraph, blank was asked how many girls in total she brought to Epstein. Blank stated that she can remember. Blank stated that she bought, and it's redacted there, and the victim in this case. That doesn't make much sense. Let me ask my question. I have a question pending right now. Are you testifying that you are unaware of any under the age of 18 females coming to Jeffrey Epstein's home to perform massages? Objection. Answer. You need to straddle that question in a different time period. When I was there, at the time I was present, the people that gave Jeffrey, men and women who gave Jeffrey massages, were adults over the age of 18. Okay, never in your time at any of Jeffrey Epstein's home were you present when the female under the age of 18 was there to give Jeffrey Epstein a massage? Objection. First of all, as I said, when I was present, it's a yes or no. Answer, no, it is not. Question. You can answer the question in full, but please provide yes or no as initial matter. Answer, I cannot answer yes or no. It's not bounded by time. It's entirely possible that I could have been in a room or even in the vicinity of Palm Beach when somebody came and I would not know. How would I know when somebody was in the house? There's no way I can know. Okay, did you stay at Jeffrey Epstein's home when you were in Palm Beach? Answer, most of the time. Okay, so how is it that you wouldn't know if there was a female in the house under the age of 18 if you were staying there? Answer, well, first of all, when I was staying there, the house is actually quite large and I have a very busy job and I have an office with a door, so the door would be shut and I would be working. I'm not responsible for what Jeffrey does and I don't always pay attention to what happens in the house. I'm very busy. Okay, so you're testifying that you never observed a female under the age of 18 at Jeffrey Epstein's West Palm Beach home. Object again. Answer, I've already answered that question, I believe. Okay, you didn't answer my question. Answer, I did. Okay, did you observe a female under the age of 18 at Jeffrey Epstein's home in Palm Beach? Answer. Like I said, I work. I don't sit there and watch people coming in and out of the house. I can't possibly tell you if I'm in the home that somebody was there that I did not see. I cannot comment on it. I have no idea. Okay, did you observe females at Jeffrey Epstein's home that were laying out topless in the back of the home, in other words, without a shirt on? Answer. So that's just another of Virginia's lies. So let's be clear. At the time when I was there and present frequently at the house, it was unusual to see people without their clothes on. Okay, when you say unusual, did you observe people without their clothes at Jeffrey Epstein's home? Answer. Can I answer? Sometimes people in the privacy of a house and swimming pool. I have seen people from time to time take their top off. I've seen people from time to time do that. Very unusual. Naked people around the people at any frequent period of time I have never seen. What the hell kind of answer was that? Okay, were they under the age of 18? Answer. As I was saying, people when I was in the house were of adult age. If they were children, friends of my family or friends that were there, they may well have been because I have nieces and nephews under the age of 18. I cannot testify to anybody else. Just another one of Virginia's many fictitious lies and stories to make this a salacious event to get interest and press. It's absolute rubbish. Okay, were you in charge of hiring individuals to provide massages for Jeffrey Epstein? Answer. My job included hiring many people. There were 6 homes. As I sit here, I hired assistants, architects, decorators, cooks, cleaners, gardeners, pool people, hired pilots, all sorts of people. In the course, and in a very small part of my job was from time to time to find adult professional massage therapists for Jeffrey. Okay, when you say adult professional massage therapists, where did you find these massage therapists? Answer. From time to time I would visit professional spas. I would receive a massage, and if that massage was good, I would ask that man or woman if they did home visits. Okay, did you ever hire a masseuse that was under the age of 18? And object. Did you? Again, I don't hire massage therapists, so that was not my job. But she just said that from time to time she did. You just said you did. You just said you hired massage therapists for Jeffrey Epstein. I'm asking if you hired a massage therapist who was under the age of 18. Answer. Let me correct myself, of course. When I meant hire, I didn't mean hire in the way you were doing it. Or what other way is there? What I say is that I went to spas and I met people, and if they did home visits, Jeffrey would then in fact hire them. I'm not responsible for hiring someone, and they were not full-time, so it's not a correct characterization. Okay, did you ever, your term is meet, did you ever meet a person that was under the age of 18 that Jeffrey then hired as a masseuse? And object again. Answer. First of all, Virginia Roberts, who you are referring to, was a masseuse aged 17. We all now know. So your story that you keep pushing out to the press that she was 15-year-old, you and I both know was a lie, correct? Okay, you are not sentencing my question. Answer. You and I both know that was a lie, correct? My God, Maxwell's actually trying to drill the lawyer. Okay, you're not answering my question. I'm asking you whether you ever met a female under the age of 18 that Jeffrey then hired as a masseuse. Object again. Answer. The only person I can talk about who clearly was a massage age 17, a masseuse, was Virginia. Okay, did you meet her and then introduce her to Jeffrey? Answer. I don't know. I already testified I don't recall meeting her. Maxwell Exhibit 2 email marked for identification. Okay, so I'm showing you a document that we have marked as Maxwell Exhibit 2. It's a document you produced in this matter labeled Confidential GM 00109. It's dated Sunday, June 12th, 2011. It's from Jeffrey Epstein to you. If you can turn to page 4, can you turn to the first page, the cover page initially, which is 00109. If you look under the timestamp, it says 12th of June, 2011 at 4:12 p.m. It says blank. Is that your email address? Answer, it is. Okay, under that it says, thank you, I have it now and I'm working on a letter. A little. I will send the final version tomorrow and whatever it is will be factually accurate. Do you see that on page 1? Answer, I do. Then I would like you to turn to page 4, please. The second paragraph down on page 4, it states, after some thought, I recall that I first met Miss Roberts when she was working at a premier resort claiming to be 18 years of old and a professional masseuse. And Maxwell's lawyer asked what line it's on. Okay, got it. Is that statement that you wrote? Answer, it appears to be. Okay, so does that correct your testimony that you did meet Ms. Roberts at Mar-a-Lago? Answer, again, this was written in, when were you saying? 2011. Answer, okay, so by 2011, Ms. Roberts had already perpetrated so many lies and stories, it's hard for me to accurately tell you what I remember back then. As I sit here today, the testimony I give you today, I do not recollect it. Okay. Do you have a reason to say that this document that you wrote is incorrect? Answer. It's in 2011. I can't possibly tell you what I remember in 2011. Okay, you're questioning this document is incorrect. This document, this email that you wrote. Answer, I wrote an email. I was trying to be accurate, so who knows? With all the rubbish that you guys have put out in the press that I read, maybe in the moment I wrote it, a memory came to me that I don't know. But as I sit here today, the testimony I gave you today is I don't recollect it. Recollect. Okay. Does this refresh your recollection that you recall meeting Miss Roberts at Mar-a-Lago? Answer, it does not. So your testimony today is that you don't remember meeting Miss Roberts at Mar-a-Lago? Answer, I do not. I just want to clarify, when you read so much stuff and so much rubbish that comes out of from Virginia Roberts, you don't know what's up and what's down. At the time I wrote this, I believe I had a memory, but as I sit here today, I do not. Okay, Miss Maxwell, when did you first meet blank? An object again from her lawyer. Answer, I have no idea when I met her. Okay, do you know how old she was when you met her? Answer, I have no idea how old she was when I met her. Is it possible she was 13 years old when you first met her? Object again. The answer has been blacked out, a lot of it. May have been in the house when Jeffrey was, or blank may have been in the house when Jeffrey was in the house. I have no idea how old she was. And then question, I understand blank blank. I'm asking if blank was 13 years old when you first met her. And answer, I have no idea. Okay, was she under 18 when you first met her? Answer, I have no idea how old she was when I first met her. Wow. Did she look like a child when you first met her? Answer, I don't remember what she looked like at the time she was in the house. Oh my God, what, is she invisible? Just float past her and she didn't see her. Okay, how many years have you known her? Answer, I can only recall the last time I saw her. Okay, when was the first time you met her? Answer, again, I just told you, I don't recall the first time I met her. Okay, did blank travel with you on Jeffrey's planes? I wouldn't remember if blank was on the plane or not. Did you ever have sex with blank? Answer, no. Did you ever observe Jeffrey having sex with blank? Answer, no. Were you aware that Jeffrey was having sexual contact with blank when she was 13 years old? And there was an objection from the lawyer. He objected. Answer, I would be very shocked and surprised if that were true. Really? I don't think the rest of the world would be. Okay, were you in the house when blank was in the house in a private area with Jeffrey Epstein? He objected again. Answer, can you repeat the question? Were you ever in the Palm Beach house when Jeffrey Epstein was in the house with blank? Answer, I've already testified that I have met her and that she was there. Blank, I don't understand what your question is asking. Okay, I'm going to stop reading the objections because this guy just keeps doing it. Okay, so you've never seen blank. Is that your testimony? Answer, I already said I don't recall all the times I've seen her and I have no memory of that. Okay, have you ever seen blank in the house with Jeffrey Epstein? Blank. Answer, I just told you I don't recall seeing blank. Were you ever involved in an orgy with blank? Answer, no, absolutely not. Okay, can you tell me, do you know an individual by the name of blank? Answer, I do. Okay, how did you meet blank? Answer, at some point she was a friend of Jeffrey's and I recall meeting her at some point. Did you hire her? Answer, first of all, I don't hire girls like that, so let's be clear. I already testified to that and I have no idea what you're referring to. Okay, so when you say girls like that, what do you mean? Answer, I hire people who are professional at the house. If you're asking if I hired somebody to do what, I don't know what you're talking about. I think she nearly slipped up there. I hired people to work in the homes. Okay, what was Nadia Markinkova doing? Answer, I have no idea what Nadia was doing. I didn't hire her and I don't know what you're referring to. Okay, you met Nadia? Answer, I testified I did. Okay, did she work for Jeffrey Epstein? Answer, I have no idea what she did. Have you flown on planes with Nadia? Answer, I don't recollect. I don't know if I did. How many times have you flown on Jeffrey Epstein's planes? Answer, too many times. More than 300? Answer, I really couldn't tell you how many. More than 400? Answer, again, I said I cannot tell you how many, a lot. Okay, how many times with blank? Answer, I already testified, I have no idea. How old was blank when she first became involved with Jeffrey? Answer, I have no idea. Was she 14? Answer, I have no idea. Did she look like a child the first time you met her? Okay, asked again. Did she look like a child the first time you met blank? Answer, I don't know what you mean if she looked like a child. Oh, how straightforward can you be? Did she look like she was under the age of 18? Answer, no. Did she look like she was under the age of 16? Answer, I just testified first of all. I couldn't tell you how old she was. She didn't look like a child. Leave it at that. Wow. Did you know that she was a child? Answer, I just answered. I did not know how old she was and she looked like an adult. In the times that you travelled with her on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, did you ever ask how old she was? Object, assumes facts, not in evidence. The witness already testified, she doesn't remember. Okay, you can answer that question. Did you ever ask her on the many flights you were with her or the many times you were with her at the house? Answer, first of all, I don't know. I was on many flights with her. You're making stories up again as usual. And secondly, if I was on a flight with her, there would not be any reason why I would ask how old she is. Okay, you don't recollect having any conversations with her about her age? Answer, I already testified to that. Okay, do you know what blank was hired to do for Jeffrey? Answer, I already testified. I didn't know she was hired and I didn't know that she did anything. I don't know how to answer that question. Okay, was blank at the house, the Palm Beach house, when you were present at that house? Answer, I have no recollection of her being at the house at the same time as me. Okay, when did you first meet blank? Answer, I already told you, I don't recall. Do you recall anything about blank? Answer, she was tall and blonde. Do you recall interacting with other females at the house? A blank interacting with other females at the house. Answer, no, I do not. Did you arrange to get a visa for blank to come to this country? Answer, absolutely not. Did Jeffrey arrange for a visa for blank? Then it goes into all this again. What was the question and rubbish? Did Jeffrey arrange for a visa for blank? Answer, I don't know what Jeffrey did. I cannot testify what Jeffrey did. Was blank involved in sex with Jeffrey and the other girls? Girls under the age of 18. Answer, I have no idea. Was blank involved with sex with Jeffrey and girls over the age of 18? Answer, I have no idea. Did blank recruit other girls for sex with Jeffrey? Answer, I have no idea. Do you still talk to blank? Answer, no. And there's blank there, and that's a question, so the answer is I have no idea. Another question blanked out, and another answer, I have no idea. Okay, are you a pilot? Answer, I am. Have you flown with blank? Answer, I have. Have you flown with blank, blank? Answer, what do you mean by flown? Oh, come on. Have you ever been on planes with her? A. Answer, I already testified I don't recall having her on a plane with me. Okay, do you know blank? Answer, I do. When did you first meet her? Answer, I don't recall exact dates. Did you meet her with the purpose of hiring her to work for Jeffrey or having Jeffrey hire her? Answer, no. What was her relationship with Jeffrey? Answer, I don't know exactly the nature of her relationship, but she worked for him. Okay, what did she do? Answer, at the time when she was with him, I believe she travelled with him and helped with his travel arrangements. Okay, did she bring girls to the house to give massages to Jeffrey? Answer, I don't know what blank did. Okay, so you never observed blank bringing girls to the home to give massages to Jeffrey? Answer, I don't understand the question. What do you mean bring? Oh dear. Okay, did you ever observe blank inviting, bringing, walking anyone to the home to give a massage for Jeffrey? Answer, I don't recollect anything like that. Okay, are you aware that blank was a co-conspirator, named as a co-conspirator in the case involving Jeffrey Epstein? Answer, I am aware. Who paid blank? Answer, I have no idea. Did you ever arrange payment for any of the employees at the home? Answer, what do you mean by arrange? Oh dear God. She's deliberately just obfuscating by the look of it. Just dancing around being unbelievable. Were you ever in charge or responsible for paying individuals at the home that worked there? Answer, people had salaries and they were paid by the office. Did you ever pay any individual? Did you ever hand an individual cash for work they performed? Answer, can you be more specific about what you're asking me? Okay, by now I probably would have tried to choke the woman. I'm sorry, but that's why I'm not a lawyer or in court. This would be frustrating. Okay, did you ever hand any individual who was working at the home cash as payment for something that they performed at the home? Answer, to the very best of my recollection, there were very few times where I would leave some cash for people for work performed. Okay, and what type of work was being performed where you'd be doing that? Answer, if I left cash for the pool guy, I would have left potentially some for the gardener, potentially for exercise instructors, and sometimes for massage therapy. Okay, how much would the massage therapist paid? Answer, they get paid between $100 and $200. Okay, did it vary based on what sexual acts they performed? Answer, no, it varied depending on how much time. Some massage therapists charge more and some charge less. Okay, did the massage therapists that were hired to come to the home perform sexual acts for Jeffrey Epstein? Answer, what are you asking me? Oh my God. She's not stupid, so she's doing this on purpose. I'm asking if the massage therapists answer. Are you asking me about underage girls? Oh, I'm asking in general, did any of the massage therapists in the home answer again? Are you asking if they were paid for sexual acts? Well, I'm asking if they performed sexual acts. Did any of the massage therapists who were at the home perform sexual acts for Jeffrey Epstein? Answer. I don't know what you mean by sexual acts. Okay, did any of the massage therapists who were working at the home perform sexual acts including touching the breasts, touching the private area, being touched while Jeffrey Epstein was masturbating, having intercourse, any of those things? And the lawyer, Maxwell's lawyer, goes into this consensual stuff again. And she says, the other lawyer says, or the prosecutor says, I'm not asking about consensual sex acts. I'm asking whether any of the massage therapists performed sexual acts for Mr. Epstein, as I've just described. Answer. I've never seen anybody have sexual intercourse with Jeffrey ever. Yeah, right. I'm not asking about sexual intercourse. I'm asking about sexual acts, touching of the breast. Did you ever see? Can you read back the question? And they reread the record. Answer, I'm not addressing any questions about consensual adult sex. If you want to talk about that subject matter, which is defamation and lying, Virginia Roberts, that you and Virginia Roberts are participating in, perpetrating her lies, I'm happy to address those. I never saw any inappropriate underage activities with Jeffrey ever. I'm not asking questions about underage. I'm asking whether any of the masseuses that were at the home performed sexual acts for Jeffrey Epstein. Answer. I've just answered the question. Question was, no, you haven't. Answer. I have. No, you haven't. Answer. Yes, I have. Okay. You are refusing to answer the question. Answer. Let's move on. Excuse me? Okay, I'm in charge of the deposition. I say when we move on and when we don't. You are here to respond to my questions. If you are refusing to answer, the court will bring you back for another deposition to answer these questions. Do you understand that? And then her lawyer says, you don't need to threaten it. And Miss McCauley says, I'm not threatening her. I'm making sure the record's clear. Whoa. And then he's saying she's not answering any questions related to adult consent, sex acts, period. And that's the instruction. We can take it up with the court. Okay, Miss Maxwell, are you aware of any sexual acts with masseuses and Jeffrey Epstein that were non-consensual? Answer is no. How do you know that? Answer, all the time that I've been in the house, I've never seen, heard, nor witnessed, nor have reported to me that any activities took place, that people were in distress, either reported to me by the staff or anyone else. I base my answer based on that. Okay, are you familiar with a person by the name of blank? Answer, yes, I am. Oh, I am. Okay, has blank ever given a statement to police? Has blank given a statement to police about you performing sexual acts on her? Answer, I've not heard that. Has blank given a statement to police about Jeffrey Epstein performing sexual acts on her? Answer, I've not heard that. Question, how do you know blank? And then the answer has been blacked out. Was blank under the age of 18? Answer, I don't recall how old blank was. Okay, did she tell police that Jeffrey Epstein assaulted her sexually? Answer, I never heard that. Did blank recruit or bring girls to the home that were under the age of 18? Her lawyer thinks it's already been asked and answered. And you can still answer the question. Answer, I have no idea what blank did. Okay, you never observed blank with girls under the age of 18 at Jeffrey's home? The answer is no. I have no idea. Do you know blank? I do. Answer is I do. What is your relationship with blank? Answer, what do you mean by what is my relationship? Well, are you friendly with him? How do you know him? Answer, he's the husband of blank. Okay, they're talking about... Who are they talking about here? I thought we were getting the unredacted one. Why is it... Okay, is blank one of your friends? Answer, yes. Did you ever send Virginia to blank to give him a massage? Are they talking about Clinton or Andrew? Answer, no. Did you ever instruct Virginia Roberts to have sex with blank? Answer, I've never instructed Virginia to have sex with anybody ever. How old was blank when she met Jeffrey? Answer, I've got no idea. I have no idea. Okay, she's under the age of 18? Answer, I just testified. I have no idea how old she was. Okay, you testified she was your friend. You don't know how old she was when she met Jeffrey? Answer, that happened sometime in the 70s. How would I know? Or 80s? I have no idea. Can you testify to what your friends did 30 years ago? You don't ask the questions here, Ms. Maxwell. What about blank? When did you first meet blank? Answer, I don't recall the exact date. Did you hire blank? Answer, I don't hire people. She came to work at the house to answer phones. Where did you meet her? Answer, I just testified. I don't recall exactly when I met her. Was one of your job responsibilities to interview people that would be then hired by Jeffrey? Answer, that was one of my responsibilities. Do you recall interviewing blank? Answer, I don't recall the exact interview, no. Do you know what tasks blank was hired to perform? Answer, she was tasked to answer telephones. Did you ever ask her to rub Jeffrey's feet? Answer, I believe that I've read that, but I don't have any memory of it. Did you ever tell blank that she would get extra money if she provided Jeffrey massages? Answer, I was always happy to give career advice to people, and I think that becoming somebody in the healthcare profession, either exercise instructor or nutritionalist or professional massage therapist, is an excellent job opportunity. Hourly wages are around $7, $8, $9, and as a professional healthcare provider, you can earn somewhere between, as we have established, $100 to $200, and be able to travel and have a job that pays. That is a wonderful job opportunity. So in the context of advising people for opportunities for work, it is possible that I would have said that she should explore that as an option. Okay, did you tell her she would get extra money if she massaged Jeffrey? Answer, I'm just saying I cannot recall the exact conversation. I give career advice and I've done that. Okay, did you ever have blank massage you? Answer, I did. How many times? Answer, I don't recall how many times. Was there sex involved? Answer, no. Did you ever instruct blank to massage blank? Answer, I don't believe. I have no recollection of it. Did you ever have sexual contact with blank? And he objects again. In consensual stuff, instructing not to answer. Did you ever have sexual contact with blank? Answer, again, she's an adult. Well, I'm asking, did you ever have sexual contact with blank? Answer, I've just been instructed not to answer. On what basis? Answer, you have to ask my lawyer. Did you ever have sexual contact with blank that was not consensual on blank's part? Answer, I've never had non-consensual sex with anybody. Not blank? Answer, I just testified I'd never had non-consensual sex with anybody ever, at any time, at any place, at any time with anybody. So if blank were to testify that she did not consent to a sexual act that you participated in? Answer, I just told you I've never ever under any circumstances with anybody at any time, in any place, in any form, had consensual relations with that anybody. Oh dear God. Did you introduce blank? Answer. I've again read that blank claims she met, or that she said she met blank. I don't know if I was the one who made the introduction or not. Okay, do you know a female by the name of blank? Answer, I do. How do you know her? Answer, blank. So she worked for you. Answer, yes. Did you hire her? Answer again, Jeffrey hired people. Did you have sex with her? And he instructs her about consensual again. Oh, no, he's asking consensual or non-consensual. Okay, was blank under the age of 18 when you hired her? Answer, no, I didn't hire her, like I said, Jeffrey did. Did blank ever have sex with Jeffrey? Answer, how would I know what somebody else did? You weren't involved in the sex between Jeffrey, blank, and yourself? Answer, we already... And it stops there. Okay, were you involved with sex between Jeffrey, blank, and yourself? And then everyone's obviously talking over each other. If there's any consensual stuff involved, he instructs her not to answer. And she answers with, moving on. Okay, so you're refusing to answer that question. Answer, I've been instructed by my lawyer. Did you ever have sex with Jeffrey, blank, Virginia, and yourself when Virginia was underage? Answer, absolutely not. I want to take a break. Okay. Did blank travel with you and Jeffrey to Europe? Answer, I'm sure she did. What is she doing today? Answer, I have no idea. Do you speak to her regularly now, or do you speak to her at all? Answer, no. Do you know where she lives? Answer, no. Do you know what country she lives in? Answer, no. Where is the last place you knew she lived? Last place I knew for sure was in Los Angeles. When did she stop working for you? Answer, 2001, 2002. What tasks did she perform for you? Answer, she helped me with moving in and out of houses, construction. She was a general help. She helped with buying things that needed to be purchased. If I needed her to stand in for me during meetings, it was a very wide-ranging job. Did she ever bring females to perform massages for Jeffrey? Answer, what are you asking me? Did blank, was it ever blank responsibility to bring females to the house for the purposes of massaging Jeffrey? Answer, blank's job was to help me with the house and work in homes. It was not her job to, whatever you just said, bring masseuses. Well, did she have to do that? Answer, I have no recollection. I have no idea. Okay, did you pay blank or did Jeffrey pay her? The answer is Jeffrey. Do you recall how much she was paid? Answer, I do not. And then they take a break. And then they're back. Okay, Miss Maxwell, I asked you about Virginia Roberts earlier. Can you describe what Virginia Roberts' duties were when she was with Mr. Epstein? Answer, I believe Virginia was a masseuse. Okay, was Virginia required to dress up in any way for massages? Answer, I have no idea. Did you provide Virginia with outfits to wear for certain massages? Answer, I have no idea what you're talking about. For example, did you ever provide Virginia with a schoolgirl outfit to wear for a massage? Answer, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you didn't provide her with that? Answer, as I just testified, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I was trying to interpret whether you didn't understand what a schoolgirl outfit was, or you're saying that it didn't happen. Answer, I clearly know what a schoolgirl outfit is. I have no recollection of providing anyone with a schoolgirl outfit. Okay, did you have a set of outfits used by the massage therapist that would include things like schoolgirl outfit or a black patent leather outfit or anything of that nature? Answer, that would be just another one of Virginia's lies. Okay, you didn't have anything like that? Answer, I did not. Did you have a basket of sex toys that you kept in the Palm Beach house? Answer, first of all, what do you mean? Okay, a laundry basket that contains sex toys in it. Answer, can you ask the question again? Did you have a laundry basket that contains sex toys in it in the Palm Beach house? Objection again. And the same question asked again. And she said you can answer. An answer is, I don't recollect anything about a laundry basket of sex toys. Okay, do you recollect having sex toys at the Palm Beach house? Answer, you have to define what you're talking about. Oh my goodness. Okay, a sex toy meaning a vibrator of some kind, sometimes they're called dildos, of that nature, anything like that. Answer, I don't recollect anything that would formally be a dildo, anything like that. Okay, how would you describe sex toys? Answer, I wouldn't describe sex toys. Did you have anything that was of an electronic nature that would be used during sex? Answer, I have no idea what you're referring to. Maxwell Exhibit 3, transcript mark for identification. This thing was supposed to be not redacted. Now why on earth is half of it redacted? An answer to a question we have no idea that was even asked. First I have to read this. Okay, sure. Miss Macaulay, I'll stop reading the clock while the witness is reading. Her lawyer says no. Miss Macaulay says yes. If she's going to read the whole document, I'll stop the clock. Mr. Pag says if you give her documents to refresh her recollection, we're on the clock here. Miss Macaulay, then we'll take it up with the judge. Mr. Pag says read whatever you need to answer the question. Miss Macaulay says, I'm going to set the document aside and I'm going to ask you the question independent of the document. Do you recall having a basket full of sex toys? Answer, I already told you I did not. We were talking a moment ago about Ms. Roberts and her position as a masseuse. Do you know what she was paid for working as a masseuse for Jeffrey Epstein? Answer, I do not. Okay, did you ever pay her? Answer, I don't ever recall paying her. Do you know what happened during the massage appointments with Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Roberts? Answer, no. Were you ever present to view a massage between Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Roberts? Answer, I don't recollect ever seeing Virginia and Jeffrey in a massage situation. Okay, do you ever recollect seeing them in a sexual situation? Answer, I never saw them in a sexual situation. Did you ever participate in sex with Virginia Roberts and Jeffrey Epstein? Answer, I never, ever, at any single time, at any point, ever, at all, participated in anything with Virginia and Jeffrey. And for the record, she is an absolute total liar, and you all know she lied on multiple things, and that is just one other disgusting thing she added. And that was the answer. Did you help her to obtain an apartment in Palm Beach to live in? Objection. And the question was re-asked. What was part of your responsibilities for Jeffrey? Answer. First of all, I didn't know she had an apartment in Palm Beach. I only learned that from the many times you guys have gone to the press to sell stories, so no. Okay, did you help her get a cell phone that was one of your responsibilities, or was that one of your responsibilities for Jeffrey? To get her a cell phone as part of her masseuse obligations? Answer, I don't know what that means, masseuse obligation. I don't know what you're referring to. Would you like to ask the question properly? Again, I think it was proper. I will ask it again. Did you ever assist in getting Virginia Roberts a cell phone to use during the time that she worked for Epstein? Answer, I have no recollection of doing anything of that nature. Did you ever tell Virginia that you wanted her to have a cell phone so that she could be called on call regularly? Answer, I have no recollection of that conversation. How often would Virginia come over to the house in Palm Beach to give massages? I'm putting words there that aren't even there now. Answer, ask the question again, please. How often did Virginia Roberts come over to the house in Palm Beach to give massages? Answer, it's important to understand that I wasn't with Jeffrey all the time. In fact, I was only in the house less than half the time. So I cannot testify to when I wasn't in the house, how often she came when I wasn't there. What I can say is I barely would remember her, if not for all this rubbish. I probably wouldn't remember her at all, except she did come from time to time, but I don't recollect her coming as often as she portrayed herself. Okay, how many times a day on an average day would Mr. Epstein get a massage? Answer, When I was at the house and when I was there with him, he received a massage on average about once a day. And the question is, just once? Answer, yes. Okay, were there days when he received 4 or 5? Answer, when I was present at the house, I never saw something like that. Okay, do you know if Virginia was required to be on call at all times to come to the house if Jeffrey wanted her there? Answer, I have no idea of the arrangements that Virginia made with Jeffrey. Now, when Virginia was in New York, would Virginia sleep at Jeffrey's mansion in New York? Answer, I don't recollect her being in New York. I have no idea where she slept. Okay, so you don't ever remember seeing Virginia Roberts in New York? Answer, I would barely recollect her at all except for this story. Do you recall Virginia Roberts calling you because she was having a medical crisis and you and Jeffrey taking her to the hospital? Answer, I've heard this absurd story, and if any part of it were true, I'd remember that. I do not. Okay, so you don't remember taking her to the hospital? Answer, it's not that I don't remember it. It didn't happen. Well, how do you know it didn't happen? Answer, that's the sort of memory you would recall. Do you recall you said don't remember her being at the New York mansion when you were in New York? Would you stay at the New York mansion with Jeffrey? Answer, I stayed from time to time. Do you recall Virginia being at the New York mansion when blank came to visit? Answer, like I told you, I don't recall her being at the house at all. Okay, how many homes does Jeffrey have? Answer, when I was working for him, I think he had 6 maybe. Would Virginia stay with him in those homes? Answer, I can only testify for when I was present with him, and I cannot say what she did when I wasn't present with him. When you were present, would Virginia stay in the homes with him? Answer, I don't recall her staying in the houses. Okay, did you train Virginia on how to recruit other girls for massages? Answer, no. Did you train Virginia on how to recruit other girls to perform sexual massages? Answer, no, and it's absurd, and her entire story is one giant tissue of lies, and furthermore, she herself has, if she says that, you have to ask her about what she did. Some of the answers don't make much sense either. Okay, does Jeffrey like to have his nipples pinched during sexual encounters? Answer, I'm not referring to any advice on my counsel. I'm not talking about any adult sexual things when I was with him. Well, when Jeffrey would have a massage, would he request that the masseuse pinch his nipples while he was having a massage? Answer, I'm not talking about anything with consensual adult situation. What about with underage? Answer, I'm not aware of anything. Okay, so you are not aware of Jeffrey Epstein ever having sex with an underage minor and asking them to pinch his nipples? Answer, I am not. Okay, so I'm going to direct you to, I believe it's Maxwell Exhibit 1, the police report. Are you aware that over 30 underage minors gave testimony to police that they were engaged in sexual acts during quote-unquote massages? And her lawyer steps in and says the witness needs to find Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1, if you can hand me that, please. And then, so now with respect to police report, are you aware that over 30 underage girls, meaning under the age of 18, gave reports to police that they were assaulted sexually by Jeffrey Epstein during massages? And he objects again. Answer, I read the police report. That's all I can testify to. Okay, are you aware of what is in the police report? Are you aware that there were 30 girls? Answer, I did not count the number of girls, and I did read the police report. I can only testify to what I read. Okay, so you're aware that the police report contains report from 30 underage girls? Answer, I can't testify to what the girls said. I can only testify to the fact that I read a police report that stated that. Were you working for Jeffrey? You said you worked for him off and on until 2009, is that correct? Answer, I helped him out from time to time. Okay, so you were working with him during the time period when these underage girls were visiting Jeffrey's home. Objection again. Answer, I was not. What year? I need years. Okay, let's say about 2005. Answer, I'm not sure I was at the house at all in 2005. Maybe one day. Maybe. How about 2004? Answer, I was present for his mother died in 2004, so I was there for his mother's death and the funeral, and I was at the house maybe a handful of days again. So she just said once she was at the house, and now it's a handful of days. Oh no, that was 2005, she was there once. Wow. I would like to direct you to have it pulled together now. It's page 39, Bates Stamp Guthrie. Answer, can you repeat that please? Oh, the number. Sure, 00040. Answer, yes. At the top of that document, about 3 lines down, you'll see the redacted portions where there is black, so it blacks out the name. Answer, I see the redacted portions. That's a black redaction of the name of the minor, and there is, I will represent for the record, that's what it is. You can contest that, but I'm not asking about the name of the minor. 5 lines down it says she was just 16 years of age. Do you see that? Answer, I have to read that if you want me to testify to some things. Question, I'm asking if you see where it says she was just 16 years old. Answer, no, I have to read it. It's 5 lines down the first paragraph. Answer, I do see that. Then the next paragraph down it says, this is the next full paragraph. It says, Epstein entered the room, introduced himself. Epstein lay on the table and told her to get comfortable. Blank could not remember if he was naked or if he entered the room with a towel. Blank stated she provided the massage wearing her panties. She continued rubbing his thighs and feet. Blank advised he turned over on his back and continued to rub his legs with oil. Epstein touched her breasts and began to masturbate. I asked if she knew what circumcised and uncircumcised meant. She stated circumcised is when the penis has no foreskin. Then jumping down to the next paragraph, it says Blank became upset, crying hysterically, and stated she was paid and also instructed to have sex with Epstein and Blank by Epstein. Do you see that there? Answer, I do. Okay, are you aware that there were underage minors in the Palm Beach house that were required to give sexual massages to Jeffrey Epstein? There's an objection there. It's already been asked. Miss Macaulay says, I am allowed to take this deposition. Answer, I already testified. Okay, are you aware there are underage girls, 30 of them, in this police report that were assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein in the Palm Beach house during the time you were working there? Answer, I'm aware that Virginia has lied repeatedly. I'm not asking about Virginia. I'm asking if you're aware that there were over 30 underage girls who gave reports to police officers during that time you worked for Jeffrey Epstein. Are you aware of that? And then her lawyer says, Counsel, what is your factual basis for asserting there are 30 underage people who gave reports? Miss Macaulay says, I don't have to answer that. Mr. Pagg says, are you representing as an officer of the court that you have personal knowledge that there are 30 people referenced in these police reports? Miss Macaulay, that's my understanding, that there are 30 girls. Mr. Pagg says, how is that your understanding if these are redacted reports? Miss Macaulay said, by reading through the reports. Mr. Pagg said, so you have personal knowledge there are 30 people. Miss Macaulay says, just like, can you, if you read through, I will not argue with you, counsel. She can answer yes or no. Back to the questions again. Are you aware there are over 30 individuals who were minors who gave reports to police, just like the one we just read, that they were sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein in the Palm Beach home during the years that you were working with him? Mr. Pagg says, objection to, again. Answer, I already testified. I was limited in the house a couple of days. There is no way I knew. I've read these reports. I cannot testify to 30. Given the experience I've had with Virginia's lies, it's very hard for me to testify about what I see. I can tell you from my personal knowledge, I did not know what you're referring to. Okay, you did not know there were underage girls in the home that were being assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein during the time you were working there? Answer, based on the lies I've already been told, I cannot comment on any. And then it cuts off. Are you saying these 30 girls are lying when they gave these reports to police officers? Answer, I'm not testifying to their lies. I'm testifying to Virginia's lies. I'm not asking about Virginia's lies. And the answer, I can only testify to Virginia's lies. I can testify to having read these reports. I cannot testify to anything else about them. Okay, so your testimony is that during the time you were working there, you did not know that these minor children were being abused in the home while you were there. Answer, what I have already told you, and I will repeat, I was in the house very limited times, very few times. I do not know what you're referring to. I've read these reports, but based on the lies that Virginia has perpetrated, I cannot tell you what is true or factual or not. Okay, you said you were in the home a very limited time, so average in the year, for example, 2004, how many times would you have been in his Palm Beach home? Answer, very hard for me to state, but very little. Okay, how about his New York home? Answer, the same. Were you his girlfriend in that year in 2004? Answer, define what you mean by girlfriend. Well, were you in a relationship with him where you would consider yourself his girlfriend? Answer, no. Did you ever consider yourself his girlfriend? Answer, that's a tricky question. There were times when I would have liked to think of myself as his girlfriend. Well, when would that have been? Probably in the early 90s, was her answer. Well, in your responsibilities in working for Jeffrey, would you book massages for him on any given day so that he could have a massage scheduled? Would you take a call, for example, and book a massage for him? Answer, typically that was not my responsibility. He would either book the massage himself or one of his other assistants would do that. Well, from time to time, you had to do that? Answer, like I said, typically it was somebody else's responsibility. Okay, if you're unable to book a girl for a massage on a given day, would that mean that you're responsible for giving him the sexual massage? And objection again. On consensual grounds. So you're not going to answer that question? Answer, you've just heard my counsel. Have you ever said to anybody that recruiting other girls to perform sexual massages for Jeffrey Epstein takes the pressure off you? Answer, repeat the question, break it out. Have you ever said to anybody that you recruit girls? Answer, stop right there. I never recruited girls, let's stop there. Now the breakdown question. Have you ever said to anybody? Answer, by girls, we're all talking about underage people. You said girls, are you talking about underage? We are not talking about consensual acts. This is a defamation suit. Well, I'm asking the questions. I know what this case is about. I'll ask you questions. If you don't understand the question, I can break it down for you. I'm happy to do that. Answer, break it down a lot, please. Okay, I'll do that. The question is, have you ever said to anybody that you recruit other girls? Answer, why don't you stop there? Well, let me finish my question. Have you ever said to anybody that you recruit girls to take the pressure off you so you won't have to have sex with Jeffrey? Have you said that? That's the question. Answer, you don't ask me questions like that. First of all, you're trying to trap me. I will not be trapped. You're asking me if I recruit. I told you no. Girls meaning underage. I already said I don't do that with underage people. And as to ask me about a specific conversation I had with language, we talked about almost 17 years ago when this took place. I cannot testify to an actual conversation or language that I used with anybody at that time. Okay, have you ever said to anybody that you recruit other females over the age of 18 to take the pressure off you to have sex with Jeffrey? Answer, I totally resent and find it disgusting that you use the word recruit. I already told you I don't know what you are saying about that, and your implication is repulsive. Answer my question. Answer, I just did. Have you ever said to anybody that you recruit females? Answer, I don't recruit anybody. That's an answer, so you never said that. Answer, I'm testifying I cannot testify to an actual language. Oh my goodness. It's a yes or no. Answer, I will not testify to an actual statement I made 17 years ago, so I cannot testify to an actual language. Oh dear God. Okay, so you won't testify to anything I'm asking you 17 years ago about a statement you made. How do you know it's 17 years ago? Answer, we are talking about a time in 2000, right? Well, have you ever said that to anybody? Answer, I'm 50 years old, so you're asking me, in my entire life, what words are you asking me in my entire life? Your entire life is limited by the time you were with Jeffrey. This is the question. Answer, let's time limit the question you're asking me. Okay, so from, let's say, I think you said you started him with 92. Is that correct? And finished with him in 2009. So from 1992 to 2009, have you ever said to anybody that you recruit other, and we'll start with girls to take the pressure off you, to have sex with Jeffrey Epstein? Answer. First of all, I resent and despise the word recruit. Would you like to define what you mean by recruit and by girls? You mean underage people. I never had to do anything with underage people. So why don't you re-ask the question in a way that I'm able to answer it? Well, I'm asking if you ever said that word to anybody. So if you don't understand the word recruit and you never used that word, then the answer to the question would be no. Answer. I have no memory as I sit here today having used that word. So it's not an admission and it's not a denial. She's not answering the question. Did you ever meet an underage girl in London to introduce her to Jeffrey to provide him with a massage? Answer. Run that past me one more time. Again, the question's asked. Did you ever meet an underage girl in London to introduce her to Jeffrey to perform a massage? Answer. Are you asking me if I met anybody that was underage in London specifically to provide a massage to Jeffrey? Is that your question? Yes. Answer. No. Well, do you know who blank is? Answer. I don't recall her right now. Do you know if... Strike that. During this time you were working for Jeffrey, did you ever observe any foreign females, so in other words, not from the United States, that were brought to Jeffrey's home to perform massages? A. Answer. Female. What age are we talking about? Question. Any age. Answer. Can you repeat the question? Oh, dear God. Yep, I would have lost it by now. I don't think I could ever be a lawyer. Okay, during the time you were working for Jeffrey, did you ever observe any foreign females of any age that were at Jeffrey's home to perform a massage? Answer. Are you asking me if any foreigner, not an American person, gave Jeffrey a massage? Well, yes. Answer. Well, as I sit here today, I can't think of anyone who's foreign. Certainly, I just can't think of anybody right this second. How about any foreign girls who are under the age of 18? Answer. I already testified to not knowing anything about underage girls. Were there foreign girls who were brought to Jeffrey's home by blank for the purposes of providing massages? Answer. I'm not aware of blank bringing girls. I have no idea what you're talking about. You've never been around foreign girls who are under the age of 18 at Jeffrey's home? Answer. I already testified about not knowing about underage girls. Did you provide any assistance with obtaining visas for foreign girls that were under the age of 18? Answer. I never participated in helping people of any age to get visas. Did Jeffrey? Was it Jeffrey's preference to start a massage with sex? Answer. I think you should ask that question of Jeffrey. Bit hard. Well, then again, it might not be that hard. Do you know? Answer. I don't believe that was his preference. I think you have to understand. A massage. Perhaps you're not really familiar with what a massage is. I am. I don't need a lecture on massage. Answer, I think you do. Because she's a smarty pants. Mr. Pag, no question pending. She will ask another question now. Answer to no question is massages for health benefits. And then asked again, when did you first meet Jeffrey? Answer, at some point in 1991. And did Jeffrey know your father? Answer, no. How were you introduced to Jeffrey? Answer, some friend introduced us. Can you describe your relationship back in 1991? Was it friendship, or was it girlfriend relationship, or was it a work relationship? What was your relationship in 1991? Answer, it was just friendly. Then I believe you testified you began working for him in 1992. Is that correct? Answer, yes. In 1992, I know you gave me the description of the work that you were performing for him. How much was he paying you? Do you remember? Answer, I don't recall. Do you know, for example, in 2001 how much he was paying you? Answer, I don't recall. Did it change over the years, or did the payment remain the same? Answer, I believe over the course of time it increased a little bit. What was that payment, the payment made with the respect to jobs, the work you were performing for Jeffrey? Was that your sole income at the time? They're talking about objecting because of personal sources of income outside of Mr. Epstein. Okay. Miss Macaulay, what's the basis for that? And Mr. Pag says it's confidential, it's not part of the lawsuit. Miss Macaulay says we have a protective order and it is part of this lawsuit with respect to our damage claims. And Mr. Pag says it's not, and in fact you're not entitled to ask financial information of a defendant in this kind of case. In a defamation case, unless and until there is finding that you're entitled to punitive damages. It is clear in New York case law, both state and federal. And Miss Macaulay says we disagree on that point, and we'll come back to that. Back to questioning. From the source of payment, from the source of Jeffrey, from your work, can you give me a range on that? Do you know, was it over $100,000? Answer, I just testified, I don't recall. I think I'd recall how much I was getting. You don't know if it was $500,000? Answer, it was less than that. Okay, somewhere between 100 and 500 would be fair to say? Answer, I believe it was between 100 and 200. Did Jeffrey, during that time that you were working for him, purchase a townhome for you? Answer, the subject of the townhouse is I worked for it and I had a loan. We did loans. So a loan through Jeffrey? Answer, I don't recall the exact transaction. Did he purchase for you a helicopter during the time you were working for him? Answer, it was his helicopter. When did you obtain your pilot's license? I believe it was 98 or 99. That was the answer. What was that for both airplanes and helicopters, or just helicopters? Answer, just helicopters. Have you ever flown blank blank on your helicopter? Answer, that is another one of Virginia's lies. The question is, have you ever done that? Answer, I've never flown blank at any time ever. In any helicopter, in any place, any time, in any state, in any country, at any time, anywhere. Wow, she doth protest a bit too much there. Have you ever had dinner with blank at Jeffrey's home, at any of Jeffrey's home? Answer, I don't believe so. Have you travelled on Jeffrey's planes with blank? Answer, yes, I have. Would that have been 2002? Answer, it's very hard to me to recollect exact dates, but that sounds about right. Was that during the time that Virginia worked for Jeffrey? Answer, I don't know that Virginia ever did work for Jeffrey. I don't exactly know if she testified to her so-called duties. We know she is a serial liar, so I can't testify to what she did or didn't do. I object to that characterization of her, so repeat the question, please. And then they asked for the question to be read back. You you can answer the question. Answer, what was the question again? When you were travelling on the plane with blank, was that during the time, it was 2002 that you were on a flight with blank, was that during the time Virginia was working for Jeffrey? Answer, like I said, I don't recall exactly when I flew with him. I don't recall when Virginia, we know what Virginia claims when she left. So I can't answer the question. I have no idea. Do you know blank? Answer, I do. How long have you known him? Answer, a very long time. Since you're a child? Answer, it's so long, it's really a long time ago, I just don't recall. Do you remember how you first met him? Answer, no, I do not. Did you introduce him to Jeffrey? Answer, that would be another of Virginia's lies and lies you perpetrate. I never introduced blank to Jeffrey Epstein at any time ever. So just add that to the long list of lies. Did Jeffrey know blank? Answer, clearly he knew him. I think we have the answer, but how? Yeah. So it's either Prince Andrew or Clinton. Do you know how Jeffrey met blank? Answer, I do not know how Jeffrey met blank. What I do know is that I did not introduce them. That is one of the many lies. Are we telling all the lies? Do you know when Jeffrey met blank? Answer, I do not know when Jeffrey met blank. Did you ever introduce blank to any girls under the age of 18 who were not friends of your children? Answer, I have not introduced blank to anyone that I'm aware of other than friends of mine who have kids under that age that he may have met socially through me. Well, did you ever introduce blank to Virginia in London? Answer, I understand her story about blank, but again, her tissue of lies is extremely hard to pick apart what is true and what isn't. Actually, I wouldn't recollect her at all but for her tissue stories about this situation. Wow. So did you ever introduce blank to Virginia in London? Answer, I have no recollection. Did Virginia ever stay at your home in London, your townhome? Answer, I know she claims she did. But if you are asking me here today to remember specifically, I cannot. Well, apparently there's photos of it. Do you remember taking a trip with Virginia to travel over to Europe, including London? Answer, so I've seen her reports and I've seen the plane reports. I see she says she was on that. But again, I really have no recollection of her. Did you know she was 17 at the time of that trip? Answer, I have. Question, do you know she was 17 on the time of that trip? Objection. Answer, I didn't even know she was on the trip. Did you hold her passport for her when she was travelling? Answer, I've no recollection whatsoever of her even being on the trip nor holding her passport. And then there's a Maxwell Exhibit 4, picture marked for identification. I'm showing you what we marked as Maxwell Exhibit 4. Can you take a look at that picture for me? Answer, I've looked at it. Are you in the picture? Answer, I am. Ah, that's the one with Prince Andrew, Virginia, and Maxwell. Answer, it is. And her lawyer says, I don't believe this has been produced to us in discovery by you. Miss Macaulay says, this picture? And Mr. Pagg says, yes. Miss Macaulay says, it has. Ms. Menninger, it is the same exact photograph. Miss Macaulay, I believe so. We'll find one. The picture has been produced a number of times. Mr. Pagg said, I've seen different iterations of this. I don't believe I've ever seen this. Miss Macaulay says, we had them blow it up on a page so she could see it. We could use an article. While you're looking for that, I'll skip ahead. Hold that until we can find one that has the Bates range on it. Do you recall Virginia being at your London townhome? Answer, I do not. Do you recall going to dinner with Jeffrey Epstein and Virginia Roberts in London at any time? Answer, I do not. Do you recall going to a place called blank, Jeffrey Epstein and yourself and Virginia Roberts? Answer, I would just like to state for the record, and there's a whole lot of blank there. I do not have any recollection of it, and I doubt it actually happened. You don't recall that? Do you recall taking Virginia shopping when you were in London to buy an outfit to meet blank? It's Prince Andrew. Answer, no, I don't. Where in your townhouse will we come back to that? Where in your townhome? We'll come back to that. Do you have a guest bedroom in your townhome in London? Answer, I do. How many? Answer, 2. Did blank ever visit Jeffrey and you in New York? Answer, yes. Do you remember him visiting you and Jeffrey in New York in the spring of 2001? Answer, again, I can't testify to any specific dates. So you don't have a recollection of that? Answer, I have a recollection. You've asked me if I have a recollection of being in New York, but if you're asking for a date, I cannot confirm that date. Do you remember blank being present in New York for a party where blank was also present? A, I don't recollect. Do you recall ever giving blank a gift of a puppet that was in the same, that looked like him? Answer, I never gave him a gift of a puppet. Did Jeffrey ever give him a gift of a puppet? Answer, no, not that I'm aware of. Have you ever given him any gifts? Objection Foundation. Answer, I know blank. Have you ever given him any gifts that you remember when he came to Jeffrey's home in New York? Answer, I don't recall giving him any gifts in New York. Maxwell Exhibit 5, picture marked for identification. I think I directed you to this page 0034. Is that a picture that was taken at your London townhome? Answer, I have no idea what this picture was taken. I know what she purports it to be, but I'm not going to say that I do. Do the surroundings look like your London townhome? Answer, they are familiar. Do you know who took this picture? Answer, I do not. Did Jeffrey Epstein take the picture? Answer, I just testified. I don't know who took the picture. Okay, so you don't know if Jeffrey Epstein took the picture. Answer, when I tell you I don't know who took the picture, it means him. It doesn't mean him. I don't know who took the picture. You can come up with 50 names. I still do not know who took the picture. Did you observe blank go into a room with Virginia alone in your townhome? Answer, I cannot recall. As I've said, no. Did blank ever tell you that he had sex with Virginia Roberts? Answer, he did not. Did Jeffrey Epstein ever tell you that blank has sex with Virginia Roberts? Answer, he did not. Did blank ever visit? Let me back up for a moment. We talked about Jeffrey's home. Did Jeffrey have a home in the US Virgin Islands called Little St. James? Answer, yes. Did blank ever visit that island? Are you aware of blank ever visiting Jeffrey Epstein's island? Answer, I'm aware of that, yes. Do you know how many times he visited? Answer, I do not. Do you know if he visited when Virginia was on the island? Answer, I do not. Were you present on the island when blank visited? Answer, yes. How many times? Answer, I can only remember once. Were there any girls under the age of 18 on the island during that one visit that you can remember that were not family or friends or daughters of your friends? Answer, there were no girls on the island at all. No girls, no women other than staff who worked at the house. Girls meaning, I assume you're asking underage, but there was nobody female outside of the cooks and the cleaners. Did you, as part of your duties in working for Jeffrey, ever arrange for Virginia to have sex with blank? Answer, just for the record, I've never at any time, at any place, in any moment ever asked Virginia Roberts, or whatever she's now called, to have sex with anybody. Did you ever provide Virginia Roberts with an outfit of sexual nature to wear for blank? Answer, I think we addressed the outfit issue. I am asking if you have ever provided her with an outfit of a sexual nature to wear for blank. Answer, categorically no. You did get that. I said categorically no. Don't worry, I'm paying attention. Answer, you seem very distracted in that moment. Maxwell Exhibit 6, flight logs marked for identification. Answer, do you mind if I take a break for the bathroom? They take a break. Off the record. Okay, back into it. Miss Maxwell, I think I handed you right before the break. Did I hand you the flight logs? They look like this. Did I mark those yet? I thought I did. Answer, I don't believe I have it. These admittedly are a little difficult to read, so what I'm going to provide you with to assist is I have a chart that has the airport codes, because it will have, for example, just for the record, reflects that the first page of the document blank. It will have a code in from the line that says PBI, for example, to TEB. So a chart that matches up. What? Just in case you don't understand what those letters mean, PBI meaning Palm Beach, TEB meaning Teterboro, which is New Jersey, but others are more difficult. But just for you to be able to understand the logs, I'll provide you with that. Okay, and then Mr. Pag says, so we are clear if the witness has personal knowledge of what these are, that's fine, but I don't know what these are, and I don't expect the witness to accept the representation that they are what they are. Ms. Macaulay says if she can testify to what city it is, she can state that on the record. Mr. Pag says if she knows what it is, she knows what it is. We are not putting any affirmatively on the record until you ask your questions. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, and I think we flagged a few of the pages which may direct us a little bit easier, but I will do it by Bates number, which is at the bottom of the document, kind of at the side. The first I will direct to your attention is blank. A. Answer. Does it have a tab? Well, it should. Let me make sure. Answer. Yes, it does. So I'm directing your attention to the bottom, 2 lines up from the bottom. There is a flight. And then Mr. Pag says, are you on blank? And Miss Macaulay, blank. So this flight is from the one I'm looking at. I think it's highlighted on your copy. On the far corner on the date, it says blank at the top, and this would be the blank, and then blank are the 2 I'm going to direct your attention to. On that first one, on the blank, you will see the column head reading PBI in the from column to TEB in the to column, and you will see some initials. You will see GE for Jeffrey Epstein, GM for Ghislane Maxwell, such and such for such and such, and then Virginia. Answer, I have to object. Mr. Pag says you don't get to object. She's turning into a lawyer already. Answer, I would like to. Let me ask the question, and if you have an issue, do so with respect to this flight. Do you recall being on a flight in the blank going from Palm Beach to Teterboro? Answer, no, I don't recall any specific flight. Do you recall flying with Virginia on a flight with blank and Jeffrey Epstein at any time? Answer, I don't. Okay, how often did you fly on a plane with a 17-year-old? Answer, I have no idea what you are talking about other than friends of mine that had kids. Did you regularly fly on Jeffrey's plane with individuals who are under the age of 18? Answer, can you repeat the question? So it's repeated. Answer, I regularly flew on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane, but I cannot testify as to flying with people under the age. I don't believe that I did. Why wouldn't you remember flying with a 17-year-old? Answer, how would I know? One, that she is 17. How would you know that? How do you know I'm on that plane? I'm on the plane. Are you saying you're not on this flight? So this is a Palm Beach to Teterboro. This says the GE, GM, and blank, and Virginia. The GM you are saying is not you? Answer, how do you know the GM is me? It is your testimony that on the flight logs, when it represents GM, that it's not you flying on the plane? Answer, GM can stand for any level. It could be Georgia, Georgina, George. Are there any people that flew with Jeffrey Epstein that had the initials GM? Answer, I don't know. Do you recall flying with Jeffrey Epstein on his plane over 300 times during the period of 1999 to 2005? Answer, I cannot testify to how many times I was on his plane because that would just be impossible. Well, were you on his plane regularly, would you say? Answer, I already testified I was on his plane regularly. Is it your testimony, and I'm referring now to the line that we were just talking about, that you were not on the flight from Palm Beach to Teterboro that lists GE, GM, other initials, and Virginia? Answer, I am not testifying to that. I'm just saying that you cannot be sure it's me. So as you sit here today, you don't believe you flew on that plane. Answer, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you cannot be sure that's me. Well, do you have a reason to doubt that when it says GM on these flight logs that represents you? Answer, I cannot testify to that. I'm just saying it may not be me. I'm looking at the flight logs and look up. Let's move a couple of lines. If you start at the top, you're going to see JE blank, then JE blank blank, JE blank blank, JEGM, JEGM, JEG, yeah, it keeps going. More blanks. Female blank repositioning. More GM, JE, Virginia, repositioning, and then a certification. So is it your testimony I'm looking at that you do not believe that the GM represents you? Answer, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you cannot. I can't sit here and tell you for sure GM is me, and I cannot testify remembering being on a flight at that time. You don't remember being on any of these flights with the initial GM? Answer, I remember being on many flights. I cannot testify that is a flight I am on. Let's go to the next page, which is going to be blank. I want you to look at line such and such. So the date is at the top. So it's blank, and if you go down, you'll see a line that says the blank, and if you scroll over, you'll see PBI to TIST. If you look at the airport codes, TIST is going to represent for the US Virgin Islands. And then you will see the list on the plane, JE, GM, blank, and Virginia Roberts. Do you recall flying from Palm Beach to the US Virgin Islands with Jeffrey yourself, blank, and Virginia Roberts? He's disagreeing over characterizations again. Do you recall flying with those individuals from Palm Beach to the US Virgin Islands? Answer, I have no recollection of any individual flight you're pointing out here. You're talking about 2001. How many years ago is that? I'm asking the questions. Answer, I'm not being difficult. I'm just asking. It's like 14, 15 years ago. It's impossible. I'm sorry. So your testimony is that you don't recall flying on that flight with Virginia Roberts. Answer, I cannot testify to that flight. Let's look at the next flight, which is on the blank from the Virgin Islands back to Palm Beach. J.E. Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislane Maxwell, blank, Virginia Roberts, the same individuals on the flight above. Answer, it doesn't say my name, it has some initials. I understand, the initials GM. Do you recall flying on a plane on one of Jeffrey Epstein's planes from the Virgin Islands to Palm Beach with Virginia Roberts? Answer, I do not. Was there any other person that flew with Jeffrey Epstein with frequency during that time in these logs that have the initials GM? Answer, I would have to look at all the flight logs. I have no idea. I flew frequently. Why don't you take a look at the next 3 pages and see if that refreshes your recollection? Mr. Pag says you're talking about blank. Miss Macaulay says she can pick any couple of pages. Those have a lot of the individuals on them, so that is a good sampling. So pick any pages you want. Does that refresh your recollection at all as to whether GM represents you or some other individual? Answer. Again, I can't testify whether that represents me or not. I don't see any other GMs, but you have to understand that even if my name is on that record, Doesn't mean I was on the flight. So are you contesting the accuracy of the flight logs? In other words, you said it doesn't represent you're on the flight. So is it your testimony? Just because a name is listed doesn't mean they're actually on the flight? Answer, I can't testify to what these are records that were produced by blank is on here. So these aren't federally mandated records. So I can't testify to what he produced. I would like you to turn to page at the bottom. The Bates number is blank and the month is blank. Answer, okay. If you go down to the number that is blank, that would be blank, you're going to see that on that line and blank, which is a blank, and then you will see blank, which is going to be, I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, blank. I'm sure it's not pronouncing that correctly. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that correctly. When you will see in the list, you will see JEGM blank blank, it looks like. Answer, I believe it says male. Yes, then blank, I believe. Is that GM on this page representative of you? Answer, well, this would be a flight that I would potentially remember with blank on it, but I don't actually recall going to Russia. Ooh. Are those your initials? Do you recall being on the flight? Answer, those are my initials with blank. I don't recall this flight either, but I would be more likely to if I had a bit more time to study the timing of this. Your testimony is you don't recall flying with blank from blank to blank. Answer, I don't recall the blank to blank flight. I have definitely flown with blank. On that same page, you will see beneath 22, you will see the indication, same as above, same as above, same as above in the column that originally had the initials. Answer, question, and names. Answer, Do you recall flying with blank, from blank to blank? Answer, I do. So the GM that would be represented in that column would be you. Answer, I recall going to blank with blank, so that is likely to be me. You were on Jeffrey's plane for that trip? Answer, I believe I was. Do you know who blank is? Answer, I do not. I'm going back towards the front, which is going to be the blank, please, and you're going to see... Answer, hang on, I'm not... Okay, take your time. Answer, okay. You're going to see in the date column, you'll see blank, and then about halfway down, you'll see blank. Then you'll see blank, which is the column, which is where I want you to start looking at the log, and there you're going to see a whole lot of blank. Answer, okay. If you look at the column, if you go back to the top on the blank, if you look at the column, you'll see JEGM, blank, Virginia Roberts, and I believe it says blank. Sorry, I'm not reading that very well. Do you recall flying from, if you see the dates, the blank? Do you recall a trip that went from the United States to blank and to the places I just mentioned where Virginia Roberts was on the plane with you? Answer, I've already testified that I don't recall Virginia on any of these flights. I would like to mark as Maxwell 7. I will put it at the top. Maxwell Exhibit 7 photo marked for identification. And Mr. Pag says, has this document been produced in Discovery? Ms. McCauley says yes. Mr. Pag says, do you have a Bates number? Ms. McCauley, this one doesn't. Okay, I'm going to ask you, and Mr. Pag interrupts. I don't recall seeing this document, so I'd like to see a Bates number document before we ask questions about it. And Miss McCauley says, can you go look for it? And I'll continue. We'll set that aside until we get a Bates number. You may want to leave that log up and set it aside to the side, and we'll bounce back to that. Do you recall, I think earlier you said you visited Jeffrey's Island? I think they called it St. Jeffrey or St. James, the US Virgin Island home. Answer, St. James. Do you recall whether blank was ever on that island? Answer, categorically, definitively, absolutely, without a shadow of doubt, when I was present or any other time that I am aware of, was blank ever on that island. I do not believe he went to that island ever, ever. That is an absolute fabrication and an absolute flat-out lie. Was blank ever at any of Jeffrey Epstein's home when you were present, other than the island? I know you said that did not happen. The home in either New York or Palm Beach or New Mexico? I do not believe at any time blank was at any of Jeffrey's homes. I have absolutely no knowledge or otherwise that he was ever there. You don't recall having dinner with him at any of those homes? Answer. Again, Virginia is absolutely, totally lying. This is a subject of defamation about Virginia and the lies she's told, and one of the lies she told was that President Clinton was on the island where I was present. Absolutely 1000%, that is a flat-out total fabrication and lie. You did fly on planes, Jeffrey Epstein's planes, with President Clinton, is that correct? Answer. I have flown, yes. Would it be fair to say that President Clinton and Jeffrey are friends? Answer. I wouldn't be able to characterise it like that, no. Are they acquaintances? Answer. I wouldn't characterise it. Oh, he just allowed him to use his plane? Answer. I couldn't characterise Jeffrey's relationship. When you were on the plane with Jeffrey and President Clinton, did you observe Jeffrey and blank talking? Answer. I'm sure they did. Why are they blanking it out? Unless it's an underage girl. Did they seem friendly? Answer. I don't recollect. Was Epstein one of the original people that conceived the blank? Do you know? Answer. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about? Did you ever not at one of those houses, but did you ever eat dinner with blank and Jeffrey Epstein? Answer. Are you just talking in general anywhere? In general. Answer. I believe on a plane of this nature we would have had a meal. But not outside the travel on the flights? Answer. I can't recollect having a meal with them. But just so we're clear, the allegations that blank had a meal on Jeffrey's plane is 100% false. Okay, but he may have had a meal on Jeffrey's plane? Answer. I'm sure he had a meal on Jeffrey's plane. Okay, do you know how many times he flew on Jeffrey's plane? Answer. I don't. Do you know who blank is? Answer. I do. How do you know him? Answer. He used to work or he still works for blank. Did you ever have a relationship with him? Answer. We're talking about adult consensual relationships. It's off the record. I'm not asking what you did with him. I'm asking if you ever had a relationship with him. Saying you can answer it. Answer. Define relationship. Well, somebody you would have spent time together, either seeing them in a romantic relationship or... Answer. You need to be, what do you mean by romantic? I was friends with blank, but you are suggesting something more. So I want to be clear what you're actually asking me. You defined it. You said you were friends with him. If that's what you were, that's what all I need to know. While you're on the trip with blank, do you recall where you stayed at these locations? In other words, would you leave the jet and stay overnight at a hotel? Do you have recollection of this trip? Answer. I recollect the trip, but if you're asking me where we stayed, you can see it's a very fast-paced trip. It was very tiring and I don't recollect where we stayed. Okay, do you recollect if you stayed at the same place blank stayed? In other words, if you left the plane to go to a hotel, did you all go together? Is this your recollection? Answer. I honestly don't recollect, no. Part of this trip we were just talking about, there is a flight that goes to Thailand. Do you remember being in Thailand? Answer. Are you asking me question on the blank trip? See, if I say that letter, I'm going to get... Wow. On the blank trip. Answer. Are you referencing something? The part that, let me make sure I've got it here. The entry... That would be the Thailand, would be the one. Let me make sure I'm correct. I have you on the wrong page. It's actually the page before. It's going to be blank, and it's going to be the entry on blank, starting on blank. And then it goes down to where it has the same as above to blank. I'm saying blank. Wow, there's a lot of blank there. I'm not representing the date, but there it is. So the last leg of that, where it says same as above, has the second to last I'm sorry on the blank. Do you remember being in Thailand with blank? Answer, I do. Do you remember what the purpose of the trip was? Answer, I don't. Do you recall, did you stay the night in Thailand? Answer, I don't recall. Do you recall why you went to Thailand? Answer, I don't recall. Who is blank? Answer, I believe she was a stewardess on this flight. Did she perform any massages on the flight? Answer, I don't recollect any massages on the flight. Do you know who blank is? Answer, no, I don't know who that is. I can't recall. This is not in colour. This is black and white, but it has the Bates label on it. Should I take the sticker off the one that has? I don't know if you want to swap it. Oh my God, this is okay, just rubbish. So we were talking earlier, we were looking at the flight logs and we were talking about a trip. And let me just get you back to page and it all blanks out. Can I direct your attention to the picture, please? Answer, of course. Can you tell me who is in this picture? Who is pictured here? And for the court reporter's benefit, can you go from the left of the picture to the right of the picture, to the extent you can identify the individuals? Answer, sure. I cannot identify the person on the left. I cannot identify the person next left. I can identify Jeffrey Epstein. I cannot identify the person to his right. And the next person in the picture is myself. Is the individual all the way to the left at the beginning of the picture? Does that resemble blank? You might want to look at that at the colour version if that helps you at all. I know it's not the marked one. I don't know if that's easier to see. They are both dark. And answer is, that does not look like blank at all. And I'm pretty sure that's the one with Nick Rhodes and someone else in the picture. Do you recall, and then Mr. Pag, let's mark this taken as Deposition Exhibit 8, since we're referring to it, and you could give us copies as well. Mrs. Manager says it's different because it has other people in this colour photo. Maxwell Exhibit 8 photo marked for identification. Do you recall who took this photograph? Answer, I do not. Do you recall this photograph being taken by Virginia? Answer, first of all, I don't know where we are. So you don't recognise the building? Answer, I don't recognise the building, and I don't recognise... The only two people I recognise in the picture are Jeffrey and myself. What does this like look? A picture of a building that you would have seen when you were on the trip in Europe? Answer, I can't possibly answer that. Do you recall Virginia ever taking pictures? Answer, I barely recall Virginia, period. Do you recall her ever taking pictures? Answer, no, I don't. I'm going to direct your attention, still within the flight logs, to starting on the next page from where you just were, which is going to be blank, and the date at the top says blank. You will see blank, and I'm directing your attention down toward the middle to the bottom where you will see the numbers blank. Why are the numbers and dates blanked out? Answer, And we've got actually... I'm going to direct your attention to the one that starts with the whole lot of blank. And in the line, the remarks line, you will see JE, GM and more blanks. Below that, you'll see JE, GM, more blanks. Do you see that? Answer, I do. Do you recall a trip from Teterboro to Santa Fe and Santa Fe back to Palm Beach with these individuals? Answer, I don't. Do you recall being on a plane with blank and Virginia Roberts? Answer, I don't. Do you recall ever witnessing any sexual interaction on one of Jeffrey's planes with any of these individuals? Answer, I do not. Absolutely not. Did Jeffrey have a fold-out bed on one of his planes? Answer, there was a bed on one of his planes that folded out. Yes. Do you recall whether, with respect to this being in Santa Fe, do you recall whether you were there for some form of a party? Answer, I don't recall the trip at all, and this looks like a total work trip, not a party trip. What would be the difference between a work trip and a party trip? Answer, just that I would be on trips for work, and I believe that this looks like blank. Looks like it's probably one of the designers at the time would meet with a trip to decorate the house. Just the timing of it. Okay, so would Virginia be bored on trips that were for the purpose of work and decorating the house? Answer, like I said, I never worked with her. But you'd have to ask Jeffrey what he bought her on the trip for. Oh, but she would travel with him when there was a work trip like this? Answer, I can't. I'm seeing that she is on this flight, but I have no idea what she is doing. He invited her, it would not be my job. What about Nadia? Would she regularly travel with Jeffrey on flights? Answer, I have no idea. You would have to look through the flight logs. I have no idea. Your recollection is... What is your recollection? Do you recollect Nadia travelling often on flights with Jeffrey? Answer, absolutely not. No, not at all. I don't recollect her actually on the flight at all. Okay, I think you can set that aside for the moment. Maxwell Exhibit 9 message pad pages marked for identification. We will mark as Exhibit 9 these excerpts from... We will identify what they are, but from the message pads. Did you want to correct anything? Answer, I want to make an addendum. Would you mind rereading the last question back to me? And they record read. Answer, I also just want to say at this point that I cannot recollect flying to parties. Jeffrey went for work, so was this Santa Fe, this flight as well? Okay, the flight we are looking at, yes, but it was to Santa Fe. Answer, I don't recall going to any parties in Santa Fe at any time, but certainly flying to Santa Fe for a party seems highly improbable. Okay, so I'm going to direct your attention to the document that I set before you, which is Bates number blank. And it has a different Bates number because it's a smaller version of the larger production. These are the pages I will be asking about. In the time that you were working with Jeffrey Epstein in Palm Beach, do you recall a process for taking anybody at the house, taking messages when incoming calls came in? Answer, you are supposed to take a message and receive the message and write the message down. Who the message was for, what time it was taken, and who took it, and what the message was, obviously. Does what's in front of you look familiar with respect to the message pads that you would have used at the house? Answer, it is familiar. I'm going to direct your attention to the second page of it. And then Mr. Pag interrupts again. These all have SAO numbers on them, or Bates ranges, and I don't see any of your Bates ranges on these. I know you have produced message pads, but those have your Bates range numbers on them, and I'm wondering if these are different documents. And Miss McCowley says, it's the same, just ours have the Bates underneath them. Okay, we're up to page 150. I think it's just over 2 hours. I will pick up with page 151, which is here, tomorrow. Okay, guys, so yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. I will keep going. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live. I have a busy day again tomorrow. And a lot of people were requesting this to be read. So I did want to read this myself as well. So there you go. I apologise, but look, if I don't get to go live this weekend, you never know. I might pop up during the week. Okay, guys. Don't forget, if you want protection from 5G, check out the link below. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.